Hello and welcome to episode 115 of Daryl Show Your Work. All right, so now that I'm moving on beyond post exploitation of Windows devices, I wanted to now focus more on Linux and the post exploitation techniques that we could take when our target host is running a Linux distribution on it. And I'm probably going to be spending the next 3 or 4 videos on this. So in this particular video, though, I'm going to be focusing on some basic modules within the Metasploit framework that we could run to target uh, uh, to target hosts that are running Linux distributions. But before I do that, I want to preface this video with the usual disclaimer, and since I am focusing on post-exploitation activities, that this is only for research, educational, ethical purposes only. Any sort of malicious access that may come from someone, indirectly or directly come from someone watching this video, I don't take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so to get things started, I need to conduct some discovery, and I'm going to be taking us through the whole process here. All right, because it's important that that I do that all the way up to the exploitation phase, so we could just get a general idea of how all of that comes together once we start conducting these post exploitation activities. All right, so first discovery. All right, so let's find out where I live today. All right. So when doing the ifconfig here, I can see that I am running on interface Ethernet 1, and my IP address is 192.198.99.2. All right. So let's copy that. All right, so next thing I want to do is I want to find out who's up and running within my local network here, so I can choose a prospective target host. All right, so in order to do that, I'm gonna do a ping suite. With fping, I'm gonna say -a -g, and I'm gonna paste my IP address here, except I'm gonna change this 2 to a 0/24, which is giving it my CIDR address, and I'm telling fping to basically to send an ICMP packet to every host within my local network. And if any of them are actually up and running, it's going to send me a response back. So as usual, device 1, 2, and 3 are running. So dot 1 more than likely is the gateway, which I don't want to bother because I like my internet access. 2 is myself. So 3, that leaves 3 as the unlucky target host here. All right. So now that I've done my discovery, now I'm going to jump into the Metasploit framework where I'm going to start my enumeration. So to do that, I'm gonna start up the PostgreSQL database, and then I'm going to combine that with the step of starting up the MSF console, which is going to take me into the Metasploit framework. All right, now that I'm in, all right, I'm going to create. The first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a workspace for myself. So I'm going to say workspace A, and I'm going to name it Linux, and we want to call this post, since I'm conducting um, post exploitation here of a Linux host. All right. So also let's say also I want to make sure that now we know who our target host is. I want to set that up as a global parameter. Um, just so I know, just so any other module that I'll be using, which I'll be using quite a few in this video, that this will automatically be set up or configured within those modules, so I don't have to keep doing that step over and over and over again. All right, so I'm gonna change that 2 to a 3. All right, and then now I want to actually start my enumeration by first doing an nmap scan and I'm going to do a simple service scan. So I'm going to say lowercase s, capital V of our target host, and it should tell me what ports are open and what services they're running on them and what versions of those services is running. And hopefully I will get an idea of what's running on there and see if I know of any type of vulnerabilities to those services that I can exploit. All right, so we do indeed see that this host seems to be running Samba, which is same as SMB, just the Linux flavor of that. So it's running on port 445 and 139, which is typical. All right, and but it looks like it's running. All right, 3.x. It's a version of it that's between 3 something and 4 dot something. So it's not specifying. However, so I know an exploitation that specifically targets 3.5.0 version of Samba, and that exploitation is actually called Samba Cry exploitation. Which the way that works, it basically it exploits that 3.5.0 versions of Samba's vulnerability to remote code execution, and which allows a malicious client to upload a shared library to a writable share and then cause the server to load and execute it. All right, so I'm going to be running that exploit against this target here, and hopefully it is running 3.5, so then it's successful and we can continue on with our post exploitation activities. All right, so I'm going to search. I'm gonna do a search type, if I can spell today, of let's see, we want to search type, we want to find an exploitation, so I'm gonna say exploit. All right, and then the name, we want to find anything that has the name Samba in it, so we want to find all the Samba exploitation modules. All right, so there's quite a few. So the one I'm looking for is has is known pipe name. So scroll up a little bit, see what I could find. Let's see. There we go. Number 12. All right. So exploit Linux Samba is known pipe name. All right. So, and this explains how that works. Samba is a known pipe name arbitrary module load. All right. So that's what I'm gonna use. So that looks like it has an ID, a module ID of 12. So I'm gonna say use 12. All right. So let's see. I'm gonna go to show options just to see what I need to configure here. All right, so fortunately the R host is already configured because I set that as a global parameter in the beginning, and port 445 is set by default since we are targeting Samba. And there's no need to specify shares in this example, but you could definitely specify that here if you wanted to target a specific share. All right, so there's nothing left to do here other than to exploit it. All right, so let's see if we get our interpreter session. Oh, actually, it throws us right into a shell. All right. So, all right, so now that we got this shell open, all right, so I'm gonna do a basic command here just to see what is our current running directory, what current directory I'm in. So I'm in the temp folder. All right, so I'm gonna background this. All right, and I want to upgrade this to a interpreter session. All right, so tell it yes. So in order for me to do that, all right, I'm gonna just say, well, first let's look at our session. So you would just choose the session. So we only run a one session here. So I would just say sessions dash u for lowercase u for upgrade and one. All right, and this is telling msfconsole that I want to upgrade my current session to a Meterpreter session instead of a shell. And it should actually open a second session of Meterpreter for me. So it's not necessarily turning that shell session into a Meterpreter session, but it's actually starting up a new Meterpreter session for me, which it looks like it has. So if I say sessions again, sorry, so we can see I have two different sessions going. I have one a shell session, then a Meterpreter session. So I'm going to jump into this Meterpreter session by saying sessions 2, since that's the session ID. All right, now that I have the Meterpreter session that I want, I'm gonna say sysinfo to do some more enumeration to see what the system information is of my target. All right, so we can see that it's running Debian 8.11. All right, and we can also see its kernel information right here, and it's running a 64-bit version. That while I have a 32-bit version running, which should be okay for what I'm doing. I don't believe I need to upgrade to a 64-bit, so I'm going to move on past that. So if I do get UID, this is going to tell me who I'm logged in as, and should give me some idea of what level of privileges I have with that account. So I'm logged in as root account. All right, so that tells me that you know I definitely have enough permissions to do what it is that I want to do here. Um, so let's say if I do a shell, all right, so I'm gonna dive back in, turn this into a shell session, and I want to say I want to run a bash session, all right. I want to turn this shell sessions specifically into a bash session. I would just say bin bash and dash I, all right, and that should give me the bash session that I want. All right, so now we can see that I'm root at demo, and we can see also that it's specifying my local directory here, which is the temp folder. All right, and I could further verify some things to say who am I. All right, we can still see that I'm still root. All right, now if I wanted to say that I wanted to see who the other users are, what other accounts are on this machine, or this machine is associated with, I could say cat Etsy, and then view the contents of the passwd file, which again has all of those user accounts and server accounts um, stored inside of it, the names of those. Okay, so we look through here, see a bunch of different service accounts. If I go up, yeah, see, I'm only seeing so root appears to be the only other, it's the only well, other the only actually the only user account in here. All the rest of these appear to be service accounts. All right. So let's say I wanted to see what user groups root belongs to. All right. So I would just simply say groups, and then the user I want to know that for, and which is root. All right. So root is in the root user group. Okay. So let's say that also I wanted to know what specific distribution, even though we've already seen this, if I just wanted to know this information outside of sys info, I could do cat and look back into the Etsy directory again, but this time I'm going to give it a wild card and say issue. All right, and this is going to tell me that I'm running again Debian Linux 8. All right. And let's say I want to again, but let's say if I wanted to know the kernel information outside of running sysinfo, all right, I would just say uname dash R. All right, and that's the kernel information right there. So it tells me the kernel, the operating system's kernel version. And let's say that I wanted to see additional information, including the architecture that's in use. Okay, and all this information you get from doing sysinfo, but this is just showing how we can get this information independent of sysinfo. So I would just say uname dash A for architecture. All right, and so we're getting here we're getting the not only the kernel OS kernel information and the host name, but we're also getting the architecture that's being ran. All right here. Okay, so if I wanted, let's say I want to view what available network interfaces were on this machine. All right, so I would say IPAS. All right, so we can see that we have the loopback interface, and then we see we have interface called IPVTI. All right, so it looks like there's only two interfaces here. So we can see if we look right here where it says INET. All right, and hold on, we actually no, actually here's the Ethernet 0. I'm sorry, I missed that. It's kind of hard to see, but right here we can see that there's actually a third one, Ethernet 0, and we can see that the IP address, all right, of our target host is right here and this within this subnet. All right, so and on that, excuse me, that information is listed under INET. All right, so let's say we want to see a list of available services that may be listening on open ports. This may or may not work. I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna say netstat -a.ntp, and so what this will do, this should list out the available services that may be listing on any open ports. So yeah, so it didn't work here, but just know that that is the command that you run if you want to see what those protocols or services are. So let's say we wanted to see a process tree here. So where in the Windows environment we would say PS. Here we're going to say PS um, space aux, and that's going to show us all the running processes. It's going to show us that process tree. So these are the showing you who the user that's running the process, which is root. All right, so which appears to be the only user on this machine, and then all the processes that are currently that's currently running in the process ID as well. Okay, so let's say I wanted to enumerate some environmental variables. So I would just say env. All right. So if we look here at path, so it's going to show the relative path of the account of the account that the account would be that the account would use to look for binaries. So this is where root looks for different binaries. And then also we can see that the home directory here is set to a root, which makes sense because I am root. Okay, um, okay, so those are just some basic commands that I just wanted to show before jumping specifically into the module. So these are some things we can do just to further enumerate a Linux target. So now I'm gonna come out of this and I'm going to jump actually into the actual modules that we can run post exploitation. So I'm gonna do a Control C to cancel this, to terminate this shelled channel, and then I'm a background this Meterpreter session because I will still need it. All right, so to make sure that everything is okay with my sessions, I'm gonna just say sessions. All right, so we still have our original shell session, and we still have that Meterpreter session. All right, so let's say I wanted to enumerate the configurations of this target host running a Linux. All right, so in order to do that, I'm gonna say search enum and then configs. All right, so this tool specifically gathers configuration details on a Linux host. So it's only one here, so it's going to have an ID of 0. So I'm going to say use 0. Oops. All right, so if I go to show options, believe the only thing I have to set here should be the session. Yeah, so I'm going to say set session I'm gonna set that to 2, since that's the Meterpreter session. All right, and let's run that. All right, so we pay more attention to the things that are actually found and ignore the failures. So in order to view that information, remember everything that I run here gets saved into the Metasploit database. All right, so I'm gonna say loop. All right. So this is giving me all the configuration files that it found. All right. So I can output, and it's giving me the path, excuse me, of where these files are located. So I can copy any of these, and output the contents of them here to my screen, which I'm gonna do for the shells, for an example. So I'm gonna say copy, and let's say we want to know all the different type of shell scripts that this target is capable of running. All right, say cat that. So we can see it can run born again shell, dash shell, bash. We know it runs bash and r bash. All right, so this is just some ways that, again, it's showing, and we have CA certificates here as well. Just some ways that we can some tools that we once we exploit the target, we can then run these tools and gain more information on it, specific configuration files. We can see basically what makes this host tick. All right, this Linux host tick. And for example, in this example, seeing what are the capabilities as far as the type of shells it could run. All right, but there's a vast amount of information here that I can dive into and just look into and formulate exactly if I want to pivot, want to do any further type of attacks, or want to get a hold of some information that I shouldn't have access to. This helps me to do that. All right, so let's say I wanted to get an environmental variable, want to do some enumeration on the environmental variables. All right, so in order to do that, I'm going to search for a tool. All right, I'm going to say env, and I want to specify the platform as Linux. All right, let's see if we have any of those tools available. We have quite a few. So if I scroll up just a little bit, let's see. All right, so it looks like 60 is what I'm looking for here. So this multi-gather env, all right? And so it says multi-gather generic operating system environment settings. All right, so excuse me. This is the enumeration module that I want to use, the post exploitation the post exploitation enumeration modules that I want to use. So I'm gonna say use 60. All right, so let's show options to see is there any further configurations, which of course there is. So it only looks like that I need to set the session. So I'm gonna say session 2, since that's the Meterpreter session. All right, and let's run this. Let's see what information I get. All right, so let's see. So it's saying running module against our host here. All right. It says executed env on Debian 8.11. It said post aborted due to failure, could not retrieve environmental variables. All right, so it seemed like it couldn't retrieve that information. However, we did receive some of that information beforehand when I was going through some basic enumeration techniques when I typed in env once I had a shell channel going, and it showed things such as the relative path in which the root account were used to look at binaries, and it showed what the home directory was set to. So let me see. I'm just curious if I were to, since it may need a shell session, if I were to set the session to 1. and run that, would it then get me the information I'm looking for? Let's see. Ah, so it did. Okay, so it did. All right, so I basically, it seemed like I needed I needed to run this on a shell channel. All right, so session one is running on shell. It's running a shell session. So see, it's telling me here that my that pwd is set to the temp folder, and then it's telling me the results of this is saved to this file. So again, if I were to do cat and then copy this, paste that here. So we can see again that it just basically saved that pwd is equal to the temp folder. All right, so that's an example of how again we can enumerate those environmental variables. All right, so let's say we wanted to now enumerate some network information. All right, some information about the network configuration of the network that this target is running on. All right, so I can simply do search enum underscore network, and let's see what we find. All right, we have one specific tool here. So Linux got a network information. So since it's only one tool, I'm gonna say use module ID 0. All right, so let's show the options there. All right, so again, all I have to do is set the session, which I'm gonna start with session 2. All right, and let's run it. All right, so it looks like it is collecting information there. All right, so if I do loot here again, all right, now we can see everything under sys control.config. All right, so we have the DNS, we have the host file configuration, um, um, information saved. We have the SSH keys information saved, which is very vital information, and if up, if down information saved here as well. So let's say I wanted to, if I wanted to view the DNS information, all right. So I would say cat. Let's see. All right, let's copy that. All right. So this is the DNS information here. All right. So starting to see looking right here. So so it looks like that the server is being hosted on members dot linode.com. All right. So it looks like that's where the website that's associated with this host is being hosted. And and this is, I mean, really good information since it tells me who their service provider is. All right, so well, not necessarily, excuse me, the website, but who basically is hosting, who is the service provider of this of this particular um, target host, Linux host. All right, so we can see that it's linode.com. All right, so that gives me some good information there when it comes to their DNS setup. All right, so let's say we wanted to enumerate their security protective services. All right, so if I were to say search enum, and then I'm gonna say protections underscore protections. All right, so we have one module that does that. So this should give me some security information about what security related services that they're running. So I'm gonna say use 0 since that's um, the only module available. And then let's say show options. Okay, so I'm gonna just set this session to 2. All right. And then let's run that and let's see if we can get some information about this security setup here. All right, so we see well, I'll go through this when I do loot. Very good information. All right, so give me a minute here. Okay, so if I say loot, all right. So, well, actually, no, I shouldn't say loot here for this thing. No, actually, because if we go back, I'm gonna show you why loot was the wrong thing to say. Same in this instance, because this actually saved somewhere differently. So if we look here, it says system protection saved to notes. All right. So instead of doing loot, this is actually saved to notes. So I'm gonna say notes, and here's where we find that information. So we can see that ASLR is enabled, SMEP is enabled, SMAP is enabled, Yama is installed and enabled, and we can see that they're running IP tables, that they also have TCP dump are running, and Wireshark are running. So we can see that they have some packet sniffers running. So again, that lets me know if I'm an attacker exactly what I should be looking out for as far as okay, what do they currently have enabled, so then I know how I need to navigate, or what things or what evasion techniques that I may need to take, because if I know that they have certain, for example, they're using IP tables and they're filtering, they're using some type of filtering, that helps me to note, okay, I need to use something that goes around IP tables, or that goes around filtering. Or if I know that they have packet sniffers, then I need to make sure that I'm running my exploitation applications, or any sort of applications that I'm running against this system, in a more stealthy way, so those sniffers don't pick up on my presence. And then up here too, it just gives us again some more enumeration of the system. Again, the operating system, the host name, the kernel information, then the architecture that is running, which is 64-bit. All right, so this is the security information. This is vital information for us as a being on the red team, being on the attacker end, as far as knowing what the security capabilities are, at least the ones that are currently running, and how we should move according to what we're seeing. Okay, so if I wanted to do some further system enumeration here, all right, we should get some information similar to what we're getting in sysinfo, and maybe a little bit more information. If I do search enum and say underscore system, all right. So that's gonna just give me the one tool that's designed specifically for enumerating Linux systems. All right, so I'm gonna say use 0. All right, and let's show the options for that, just to make sure there's nothing else I need to configure other than the session. All right, so it doesn't appear to be, so I'm gonna say session. I'm gonna choose 2. All right, and let's run that. So start now getting us that information we had before regarding the architecture and everything. All right, so if I were to say loot, oh, well, I have to spell loot right. All right, so it gives us a bunch of great information here. So, I mean, not only do we have information here about the Linux version, we have user accounts. So it saves the user account information for us, installed packages, running services, cron jobs. All right, so remember, I've had some previous videos where we've exploited cron jobs. So that's good to know. It's exploiting those running those scheduled running processes. All right, disk info. All right, if we want to know what disk drives and things they're running, whether it's a fixed or removable log files. Again, I just showed in previous video how we can, well, at least from a Windows perspective, how we can delete those that log information and set UID and then CPU vulnerabilities. So that's good information. So I think I'm actually, let's see, we want to test one of these out. I'm gonna test. Let's see what installed packages they have. So let's read that information. Yeah, quite a few. So this gives me the full list of, and it's not surprising since we're talking about Linux here. So quite a few installed packages they have here. So again, this gives me um, um, great information if I wanted to target any of these in specific, or at least let me know some of the capabilities of their of this target host. All right, and the next thing, let's say if we wanted to know if this is either running a virtual machine or a container. All right, and when I say container, what a container is, it's a lightweight standalone executable package of software that includes everything needed to run an application, including the code runtime, system tools, system libraries, and settings. All right, so um, I'm going to start off by seeing if if this is running in a container, and then I'm also going to be seeing if it's running on a virtual machine. All right, so let's look for um, any modules that could check to see if it's running on a container. So I'm gonna say check container. All right, we have one. All right, so this specifically looks to see if a Linux target is running on a container. So I'm gonna say U0. All right, see show options. All right, so I only need to set the session. So we're gonna say session 2. And let's run that. Let's see if our target's running on a container. And it says yes, it appears to be a Docker container. All right, so this confirms that, and Docker is a very popular container provider. So it is running on a Docker container. All right, so we already kind of know what the result is going to be for a virtual machine. So but we could run that as well. But again, similar to with the VM enumeration, this information is important because if a container is in use, I can use a container breakout exploitation to attack the underlying machine. All right, so in the previous video, Windows video, I said that when we did this checking for if it was running on a virtual machine, so similar to if it's running on a virtual machine, the whole idea is determining if it's running on either a Docker container or just a container in general or a virtual machine. And that way we can know that if we want to attack the underlying technology that's running that, we would need to conduct some type of breakout exploitation. But again, that's beyond the scope of this video, but just let you know that's why we're checking these things. All right, so I'm gonna run the same. Speaking of that Windows module video, I'm gonna run the same search, look for the same tool that I use in that one. Except if you remember, there was 3 variations of this. All right, so I'm gonna say check VM. So remember, there was the Linux variations, the Solaris variations, and the Windows variations. So in my previous video of this, I chose, of course, the Windows variation since we were targeting specifically a Windows platform. So in this time, since we're targeting a Linux platform, I'm going to choose 0. All right, and let's see. Let's go to show options. All right, so let's set the session. to 2. All right, let's get that running. And kind of expected that. It does not appear to be running on a virtual machine because we just found out that it's running on a Docker container. All right, so no surprise there, but want to show some ways again. So if, some different ways that we can see if it's running on some type of virtual instance, whether that's a container, a lightweight container, or a full virtual machine. Okay, and just lastly, if we wanted to do some user history enumeration, all right, the way we could do that here on against a Linux target is first I'm gonna search for a tool or module that's designed to do just that. Enum users underscore history. All right, and we have one module that's designed just for that when it comes to Linux host. So I'm gonna say use 0. All right, so show options just to make sure there's nothing else to set up. It doesn't appear to be, so I'm gonna say set session to 2. All right, so let's run that and let's see what we get in terms of the history of the user. All right, so it's searching all the user and service accounts. That's what you're seeing here. Remember when we used that process, not that process tree, excuse me, that when we looked at the contents of that past WD file, it's looking at all of those service and user accounts. But we know there's only one user account on this system, so these are primarily service accounts. So we should really only be um, seeing something. Well, also what root has done to as well. So any interaction root may have had with these, we can see. All right, so I'm gonna say cat, and it's showing me where this is stored. So let's copy that, and let's look at the contents of this file. All right, so we can see that a lot of these service accounts have never been logged into. All right, so oh, I went back too far, which it looks like said root was never logged into, which we know that's not true. So let's go back up a little bit. Yeah, so it says latest root never logged in, which is very, very funny because we're currently logged in as root. We have logged in as root. We have a shell session going on as root and a Meterpreter session going on as root. So that is a bit surprising, but this is where you would, if you want to see basically when the last time either a user account or a service account was logged into. This is going to give you that history of that. All right, so this is where you would go to see that, and it saved that information here onto my local system. All right, so that's going to bring me to the end of my video, but just to give a high level overview of what I did here. So of course we exploited. I started out by doing some basic discovery, and then enumerating our target once we found them. Then we found that samba cry vulnerability. I exploited that to get us into our Meterpreter session. So I just ran a few interesting commands that we could use just to do some high level enumeration once we had access to that machine with a shell session. And then I also jumped back out, back into the MSF console, and showed some different sort of some more base level enumeration that we can do, such as configuration enumeration, um, enumeration of environmental variables, network information enumeration, security and protective service enumeration, system enumeration, virtual machine, container enumeration, and lastly that user history enumeration. All right, so those are just some enumeration modules or techniques that we could use once compromising a Linux-based host. And in my next set of videos, I'm gonna be showing some other things that we can do beyond enumeration once we have our hands inside of a Linux host. But until then, please like, subscribe, and share. And until my next video, please show your work. Take care. God bless.